Hello everyone and welcome to SEAT Code. As you know, this week is the International Women's Week, and in SEAT and SEAT Code we want to celebrate it with different activities during the week. Today is a pleasure for us to have here to Gözde Canbolat, product owner in SEAT Code, also Sara Mondragon from Ironhack, George Kovalev from Barcelona Code School, and Paqui Lizana from SEAT to talk about hiring female talents in tech. Let me take the opportunity to remind you that on Thursday we will be again with Cristina Verdi and with Diana Gamez to talk about gender gap and artificial intelligence. So now, let me turn over to my dear colleague, Gözde Canbolat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Maria, I guess we are going. All right, thank you so much. So hi everyone, once again, welcome to our live meetup. So this event, by the way, is live streaming from heart of Barcelona, to be specific from La Rambla. We are at the SEAT Code offices. And just to give you a little bit of information, if you have not heard about SEAT Code up to now, so we are a young tech startup. We are active since 2019, and our objective is shaping the future of mobility. But today we have another topic because it is, yesterday was International Women's Day, and today, 9th of March, and we are celebrating this important event. And today with me, I have three important guests, as Maria mentioned, and we met today to discuss a very important topic, hiring and empowering women in tech, and why is it still an issue, still so difficult in 2021. So, Sara, would you like to introduce yourself with a few sentences?
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, my name is Sara Mondragon. I'm working in Ironhack, and I'm representing, let's say, like the educator's point of view with George here in the panel. My role at Ironhack is partnership manager, so I'm linking our grad students with companies that are hiring tech talent. And thank you very much for this invitation. I'm really, really happy to be part of this panel.
Thank you. We thank you for participation. And George?
Yeah, hi. Well, thanks for having me here today. My name is George. I'm from Barcelona Code School. We are mainly focusing on coding and UX boot camps. And same as Sarah, I can give my point of view from the education side to this process, and hopefully we will come out with some cool ideas.
Great, thank you. And we have also Paqui.
So hello everyone, my name is Paqui. I'm the head of digital products and services within SEAT, also for Cupra. For me it's a pleasure to be here and also represent the part of SEAT that we are also moving into a revolution towards mobility and our future customers. 2 weeks ago, when we started to talk with Gözde about this opportunity, for me was wonderful because we have women in technology, but in SEAT we have as well women in automotive. With so the two things together, it's in fact a revolution. So thanks a lot for having me here, and thanks to everybody online for being also with us.
Perfect, thank you. So as you realize, we have quite a diverse participant profile as well. So we are going to represent partially the education in technology, and Paqui is from a big corporation, and let's say I am considerably smaller, comparably smaller, let's say, tech company. So we are all going to discuss exactly why we are facing these difficulties. At SEAT Code, right now we are hiring, and this is an issue. So that's why we wanted to take this opportunity to discuss. So before we are moving through the topics, I want to give some information about the setup of the event. So as I said, this panel will be live streamed and recorded. So if you want to see it later on, you can refer the link. We are going to share with you later on. And the participants will be muted and cannot switch on their cameras. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that interactive, but please write your questions in the chat. So we are going to save some time to the end of the panel, but if you have any questions, please write in the moment. Try to check them and maybe accept some of your questions during the panel itself. And of course, I want to share with you the online code of conduct. So we are here with very good intentions, and we are here to share our own point of view. We are not representing any kind of association or any kind of nationality or background. So this is a welcoming and safe environment. It is respectful. We are going to respect even if we are not on the same opinion. It is ethical and inclusive. So everyone is welcome, and we would like to share or inform you that any kind of intolerance will not be tolerated. So we invite everyone to be respectfully participant. So I'm going to start with some statistics, because I guess it's really important to understand why we are here and why we are still discussing this. So according to the World Bank data, the women only creates 40% of the global workforce. So it is not even half. And when you deep dive a little bit more, we see in tech industry it is around 25%. And when I zoom into Europe, we are going to see on the right side of the slide, it's even less. So ICT, information communication technology specialists are only 17%. I mean, women are only 17% of the total tech workforce. And we see that also only the 19% pay gap. So this is important because women tend to be hired for lower paid or lower profile technical positions. On the other side, we also see this issue starts from the graduation. The science, technology, engineering, and math graduates, when we check the numbers, only 34% of them are females. And only 16% of them receive guidance or recommendation to study tech or STEM. So this is interesting because I mean, this data might not seem so important, but we see this everywhere. For example, I'm going to share with you some more data. Meetup events, this kind of events, only 22% of the participants are women. So 78 of the participants, they are men. And when we look at technology investment, we see that 93% of the capital was invested in all male funding teams. So when I go through all these statistics and slides, sometimes it is difficult to associate it with real life examples, and we may not feel that, okay, 22, 17, 40, so what it really means. So I'm going to give you some real life examples to make it a little bit concrete. So when we talk about machine learning, artificial intelligence, I guess we are hearing about this everywhere, so we are more or less very well informed about this topic. And when we look at the numbers, only 12% of the machine learning researchers are women. So, and this is dangerous. So I want to highlight this is dangerous. Why? Let me give you one example. So in 2018, I had the opportunity to join as an audience to TEDx San Francisco. And this is Rachel Thomas, and she's a very successful AI researcher. So she was selected by Forbes in 2017 as one of the most influential women in AI. And she's co-founder of Fast AI. It is a company which works on democratizing the artificial intelligence. And they are looking for people with different backgrounds. So she was representing this during this TED Talk. And I was like, oh my God, because I am Turkish and this is my language. So she was using my language on Google Translate to explain about bias, gender bias in artificial intelligence. So I was like, what is going on? So Turkish is a gender natural language. So we don't have he, she, or it. We only have o, which is it. And I can talk about a friend of mine for 1 hour, and you will not understand if it is she or he. But when you write this, in Google, it gets confused on Google Translate. So this is a test. They are writing in Turkish, it is a doctor, it is a nurse. And the translation right away is he's a doctor and she's a nurse. So I was shocked and I checked it and that was true. You know, I just Googled it and yeah. And she raised this topic a lot. Then it became a little bit, known. And in 2018, like again December, just 2 months later, Google actually announced gender sensitive translation for Turkish to English. And it took more time, almost 2 more years. It was April 2020. Google announced that they are going to have the similar approach in a more scalable version, Hungarian, Finnish, Persian, Spanish to English. So this is, we all know that this is just Google Translate, right? So it shouldn't matter that much, but we are relying on AI and machine learning to make some decisions or actions on behalf of us. And if we train the machine learning in a gender-biased way, I mean, our future will be biased as well. So that's why I want to share this example. So another one, gender diversity on online gaming. So I attended another meetup last week, and I was really surprised because I had the opportunity to learn a lot about gaming. And gaming, I don't know if you know, but it is one of the biggest entertainment, actually it is the biggest entertainment industry right now, more than movies, music, and everything. It is really, revenue-wise, the biggest market. And everyone is gaming, men, women, parents, families, kids, teens, and actually teens and young adults, they create the biggest proportion of the gamers. And the games are different, right? From Candy Crush to live streaming big games. And women make almost half of the game players. I didn't know this. But in US, it is around 46. In UK, it is even higher, like 52% of the online game players are women. And in Asia, it is growing exponentially. So, as I said, these teens and students and parents, they're playing all together there, and they're building some skills around communicating, collaborating, because there are some team activities, right? Team games. So you have to collaborate, communicate, and then play together to win the game. So they learn some values, they learn some skills. And when these skills are not really well created, we give wrong messages and we build wrong skills. So I want to give the example of Disney. So Disney was highly criticized about the image of women. And we can proudly see that in 75 years, we could move from Snow White to Elsa and Anna to Frozen. Because when we look to the previous images, previous princesses, they were beautiful, kind, and mostly, I would say their only virtue quality was being pretty. And actually, Snow White was punished for this. But they were waiting for the prince. They were the objective of the fairy tale, but they were not really having a strong role. So the same evolution right now is happening in gaming industry. So I guess many of us know Tomb Raider, and this is Lara Croft. And around 2020 to 2003, 2008, 10, she started to get sexier and sexier, like bigger breasts, tinier chest. I mean, she was like a really sexually created profile because the game creators, they were considering the male interests. And finally, since 2013, you are going to see the image on the right side, she became a little bit more normal, like one of us. She looks like a real fighter or a real game character. And this evolution took lots of time. And when we look at the reasons, okay, this is not, I would not like to blame anyone, but 71% of the game players, developers, are male. So this is a area that we barely exist as women. 85% of the games, they don't have any female characters, they're all male characters. And 70% of the female gamers hide their gender to avoid harassment. So the issue at gaming, not only how we define the women, how poorly we depict women profiles, but on the other side also how girls, teens, young women feel themselves while playing. And men in game tend to be shown more muscular, and they are saving women, and on the other side, sexual objectification and sexualization of female characters. And also there are some experiments by Ohio University. They see that when same person plays with a female account, she receives 3 times more insult and harassment. They are about sexual jokes. They say that, okay, another female player, go back to your kitchen and everything. So that's why 70%, yes, exactly, they continue hiding. So I just wanted to give this because it's not about a game anymore. It is the society, this is the youth we are, let's say, creating. And this is highly dangerous. So I want to now, finally, I stop my part. I want to get your opinion. I want to know your thoughts about this because we see that, gender diversity exists and it is going to have many consequences in different areas. So for me, you are representing, again, institutions and, big corporations. So I want to know your opinion, how you see this risk. Okay. Maybe, Sara, we can start with you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, like there's a phrase of the VP of Inclusion Strategy in Netflix, which says like, and I really like this phrase, is like diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being invited to dance, So I think it really like represents well the difference, or the two things that we need to take in consideration is the fact that today maybe women have access to education. They can choose what to study, which is like a big step and a big, let's say, win that we've had if we compare it to years ago. The problem is that women are not necessarily like choosing this like this career. And why are they not choosing this? This is the problem, because maybe, as you mentioned, we have diversity, but we don't have like inclusion, So what we need to like realize, for me, is like what you have shown in all the examples, is that we have still like a sexist, history that has followed us, okay? And today, the fact that women are not present in this area comes from the fact that women were or had late access to labor market, okay? Women, for instance, don't have like reference models in the technology area. So it's difficult, you cannot be what you don't see, So if you don't see like a woman that is inspiring you and you want to be like her, as women, it's like difficult to say, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to jump for it. So the risk for me is that now that we are aware of this, we definitely need to continue pushing, okay? Like comforting women about the fact that the market is ready, because I think the market is ready and is asking for women to go on the area. Okay, and we need to give them like all the information about the conditions they will have, how companies will embrace like their arrival in tech groups, and like create like all this atmosphere for them to be have less like questions about how it's going to happen if they try to do it, Okay. I think there's something important, when you see like a panel normally when they are launching like a new technology, most of the speakers are men, okay? And when you see what are women doing, they are like hosting, placing people, and giving out water, okay? So we need like to have role models, and for me that's what's really going to change, like the way things are done, have role models so that women can project themselves and identify. If not, the risk is that we are going to continue in the same level.
So the gap is going to continue and the risk are going to be always there.
Maybe like there will be a natural, naturally the gap will reduce, but it will take a lot of time.
I agree. George, would you like to add anything? I know now we are just surrounding you, but yeah, it's also important to hear, especially your point of view. Have you realized this kind of risks, that gender gap would create?
Yeah, well, I think that obviously the problem is not just about tech industry, but about society in general. And it's starting from their childhood, then these models, they exist still, unfortunately. Then there's like an opinion that, okay, science is for boys and arts and crafts is for girls, which I don't like at all. I have a boy and a girl, my kids, so I want this equality to happen as fast as possible. But then a lot of studies, they actually suggest that girls or women perform in science better than guys if they're exposed to the same conditions, to the same environment. And I really like this idea. And in our school, we have this, well, we have some statistics and everything. So the numbers we have is that overall between UX and coding bootcamps, we have 39% of women students at the moment.
Okay.
Right? Which is not so bad in my opinion. It can be bigger number, but still I think that it's not so bad. But then, of course, if we will compare it to UX UI bootcamp, then the ratio is absolutely different. We have about 70-something% for female students and much less guys there, which is sad. But what I think is that in tech we have this perfect chance to increase this ratio, because here it's all about skills, and we do not care about gender, race, age, nothing like that. Here we purely focusing on the skills, especially in, let's say, development and coding, right? It has nothing to do with some like talent for arts or whatever. So in this case, there is absolutely no reason to have any kind of discrimination based on gender, first of all, right? And we have a lot of brilliant students who are just naturals, and most of them, those who are just like born to do that, they are women, right? So I'm not saying that guys, they are worse programmers, but if we're talking about this like natural talent for coding, then in most of the cases it would be girls. So yeah, I think there's nothing preventing us from increasing this ratio. And then I think that we should start just, it's a good idea to change the world immediately, but I think we should just begin with our little worlds, like our companies or our schools or things like that, and then if we do that here where we can, then we'll help.
No, there are many examples, also not in the technology, but in general design. You know, sometimes it's focusing on one kind of people or one kind of gender. I don't know. To me, it is quite new. For example, just backpacks, to have gender-specific backpacks, because they had some stabilizers here and there, and they were never considering, for example, women's body. So this kind of thing, not only technology, but this diversity and paying attention to different needs of different genders and different diverse groups. It's essential. Otherwise, we literally, as you said, exclude one side, and we all know it's a journey, and we cannot, achieve this very fast. But at the end, I guess we have enough learnings, also from the industry. So, Paqui, from your experience, I don't know, you are also, we talked about it's like a double challenge, automotive and digital. So.
Well, I think, I'm going to say that I completely agree with they were commenting. This morning when I saw your updated slides and I saw Elsa and Anna, I took my baby and I said, I'm going to ask you something, because this afternoon I have this challenge, and he goes, okay. Choose first. You prefer Paw Patrol, Elsa, Anna, or the Sam the fireman? And he said no, Elsa, Anna. So for him, and it's like wow, things maybe are changing, with this. So step by step. So you share a lot of things. Numbers scares me. I mean. We need to do something. We cannot, in my point of view, in the world we are moving, that is completely hyper volatile. We need that all society is part of the change. So we cannot afford that half of the people, women, whatever, the diverse people, is not joining these changes. And for me, the STEM, so all the technologies that you were adding, STEM is bringing the capability to think differently, to be creative, to be innovative. And we need them. So we need those young people, girls, everyone to come into this revolution. So we need to do something in every single layer to really ensure that they are part of that. Also, in regards to you commented, no, the machine learning algorithms, also scares me because this is like a unconscious bias, and I learned a lot about unconscious bias with Mercé Bray, that she is now leading some talks in SEAT, wonderful, and oh my God, these algorithms that we are training, I mean, we are moving towards being all the same, instead of being more human and more diverse. For me, this is I was having like a reflection, and I would like to share with you. We are now building this future, and we really need to make sure that this technology is helping us to be more diverse in the future, instead of being more equal. So I think we need to make this really, this reflection and think about what we can do in order to have like this future with the technologies helping us to be more human and more unique, instead of being more equal.
Right.
So when I saw your example, I started to search about this, and I saw, I think last year, Twitter was publishing like a new algorithm for improving the faces of the people. So if you upload like a kind of blurred picture, they have like an algorithm to make it better. And this algorithm was only, let's say, working with patterns that most of them were only from white people. So people uploading black faces, and suddenly they became white. And I said, what we are doing? And then you started to search, and it's like a lot of examples. So I was thinking in the beginning that technology should be no gender-based, but then in the end we are creating technology that is gender-based.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's something.
I don't know. For me, it's like, we need to do something.
No, I like totally agree with what you said, and like we should see diversity as a source of business also. For instance, if we want to have like a future that is more diverse, okay, with machine learning algorithms, etc., this has to be created by a diverse group of people. Because if you only create them, as you said, with like the white, tall, rich, or whatever, like a man, we won't be represented. All that diversity won't be represented on this. So, for example, diversity for me can create a lot of business opportunities. Women, for example, can create like perfect applications to follow up like menstruation, or like a pregnancy. This is something that men can, I mean, like they could, because they can study about this. But a lot of like different diversity people can create things that adapt to what they are, okay? And this is something that another person cannot think at your place, because the needs are not the same, the way you live, it's not the same. So I think it's really, really important, like, to see out of diversity, like, all the potential, okay, for business and for future creation, and not being afraid of diversity, because diversity, in the contrary, can create a lot of opportunities.
That's true. And I was very surprised actually by the example I gave about Google Translate, because you expect from Google to have very diverse engineering teams, but apparently they didn't have any Turkish, Finnish, or I don't know, or no one checked this, because they did not consider it is not something, which was done intentionally. But the only way to tackle this, as you mentioned, just to create diverse teams that can complete each other. So. Okay, so I will move to the next topic then. So it's also interesting because, maybe our audience is going to know GitHub. So it's a very important community, and they made some tests, and they identified that the code which was written by women was 78.6% accepted, which was actually 4% better than higher than the male, the codes written by men. So of course, this objective is not making any kind of comparison, but just to tell you that this was the case when the coder hit her gender. So it was not gender specific or the consideration while knowing the gender of the programmer. And women still, besides this, when we know this acceptance, women are currently still, they remain highly underrepresented. For example, when we check the software engineering jobs, women create only 14% of the whole workforce. And for computer science related jobs, it is 25%. And in fact, according again to the studies, the software engineer hires of women have increased only 2% over the last 20 years. So I gave you lots of statistics, right? I showed you the charts and 20%, 40%. But we also have to pay attention here because when we talk about information communication technology jobs or ICT specialists, they might not be artificial intelligence programmers or software engineers. So when you look at the top tech positions, men and female and male, let's say tech workers occupy, women mostly work on project management, business analysis, other IT or QA tester, technical recruiter. On the other side, male work more software engineering, system administration, project management, IT management, and application development. So this is also kind of a bias in the technical recruitment. It shows that, okay, maybe women prefer to apply for these kind of positions. That might be the case, and probably this is the case. But on the other side, industry trusts men probably to create new solutions. Female roles are more execution or supportive or coordinating jobs, while men working really hands-on creating some solutions. So here I also want to ask you from different perspectives, does this demand really change that much? Also when they want to study, for example, the students, they come to you to change their career and they say that I will never be a backend developer as a woman because no, I will go for UX design, I will be a product owner. Is this also true when they come to study, or they got disappointed and switch their direction after completing their degrees? George.
Yeah, well, so what I see, we have a lot of students coming to school to change career. Most of them, they are coming for coding boot camps, not for the UX. UX, we do that, but it's not the main focus of our school. And so far, we have not seen any signs of discrimination. Then they going through the job support process, then they searching for jobs. And actually, we've seen a couple of times quite the opposite, that among several candidates sent to some specific company, the female graduate was hired pretty much on the spot, even without any testing, which is a good sign because it shows that a lot of companies, they're actually looking to attract female developers.
Without testing, you mean like they just favorited?
Yeah. Well, because they already had our graduates working there, so we sent some recommendation. We explained that, okay, these several graduates, they all on the same level, they're all good, proceed with testing. And I think because they were concerned with this lack of female developers, they wanted to have, let's say, her. So it's a good thing since obviously it shows that a lot of companies, they are actually thinking about that, they're concerned about that, they want to attract them, they want to have them, and not a single time we had any feedback from other graduates or the companies, which allowed us to conclude that, okay, someone was denied based on the gender, right? So I think things are maybe getting better, but not fast enough.
Yeah, it will take time. But it's a very good sign because I guess on the company side, we know that creating, let's say, it's a topic open to discussion and conversation, like positive discrimination and favoring some underrepresented groups during the hiring process. So this is, I'm not going to cover this right now during this, this discussion, but it shows that when you give the opportunities, companies, the career path, then students are more open to study, I don't know, cyber security, backend development, like, this stereotypical job designed for men.
Yeah, on the another hand, sometimes we get calls from prospective students, and sometimes they're asking, am I going to be the only girl in the group?
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, this idea still exists, that, okay, maybe I will sign up for a coding bootcamp, but it will be all guys, and I'm not comfortable there.
Okay. Do you receive this kind of questions during the hiring process?
No.
Do they ask, am I going to be?
No. In fact, I mean, it's a really nice opportunity to be the only girl in the room. I want to say it in a positive way. In the case of my team, in fact, we are 90% women. And in the UX UI that we are working also with external partners and so on, it's 100% women. But it's not because of any favor or it's just because we did interviews and we focus, as George was commenting, in the value in the end. So, and in the value is in the end a woman. Okay, we have more women in the team. That's okay, and it's fine, and it's nice. In the case of the development, yeah, it's 100% men.
Okay.
We want to change that. Yes, we want to change that. But again, for me, it's first value, and then we'll see. Because we cannot change that from one day and another, and forcing this, as you were commenting, is a little bit, complex. I think in the case of these new fields and these new areas, sometimes, and it's my personal opinion, sometimes there is a lot of gap between the things that you are studying and then the real career. I don't know. And maybe from my point of view, we are looking for something like a real, something more tangible, something that you really see what is the outcome or the impact that you are going to do, for example, in the society. So an idea could be that during those studies, focus the labs, focus the experimentations or even the exams in solving real problems of the society. So then they will see, okay, I can solve that problem being a software developer.
Okay, so you say that this backend, front end, I mean, this software engineering looks very abstract, that you cannot really put it into context.
Exactly.
That's why. Okay.
Exactly. So because I was also discussing that with my girls friends, and because all of them are like doctors or fashion, they are I'm the only one in the engineering side, and I was asking them about 20 years ago, why you choose this career and so on. And say, I don't understand what they are doing in engineering. I don't understand what they are doing in the software development, but I do understand what means to be a doctor. And maybe it's also related to the reference and so on. So if we could make this change of making those solving problems for the real for the real problems in the society, maybe we can capture also more attention from the woman's side. Saying, for doing that, I need to be a backend developer. I will be a backend developer.
Yeah, but that is also very important. Thank you for highlighting this, because I mean, for many of the society, we learn many things from television, from games, from many media. And when we think about engineers, they eat noodles and they create startups in the garage. I mean, I will never do this. You cannot make me eat noodles every day, even if I'm gonna create a fancy startup ever. So, but this is not the reality. That's how they picture it. And I know successful women creating successful startups, and they don't need to, sleep in the garage. So you also mentioned, right, Sara, that your female students, they don't know what kind of world they are entering in.
Yes, but I think also in addition to what you mentioned, it depends also on let's say the country or the cultural climate of the country. So for instance, in Ironhack, We have, of course, more, like globally speaking, more women in the UX UI bootcamp than on the data and on the web development. In data, we have around 30% gap between men and women, and in web development, 26. But for instance, if we look at the numbers in Amsterdam and in Berlin, Amsterdam, globally speaking, has more women than men. Okay, and Berlin, it's more or less like equitative. On the other hand, if you look at our numbers in Mexico, we have a big gap between men and women, like enrolling on the bootcamp. So for me, it's also a matter of like this cultural bias that we have. Okay, so if we have, or if we grow up in a society with like a big patriarchal hierarchy, history, sorry, you will be like more easily like you know, like you will choose something which is more creative, no, or more soft. Logic in these kind of societies is something that is reserved for men. So I think it also depends on the policies, the social and cultural policies, no, that cities, for example, can do in order to reduce this gap, gendering gap in all aspects of life, of daily life, not only regarding technology or studies.
No, that's true. Okay, we are having here together brainstorming and having a really open conversation around this. As I said, educators and company representatives. But of course, there is a lot that needs to be done, maybe really top down by the governments, by, I don't know, for example, cybersecurity. I don't think there are many women working in cybersecurity, and this is really freaking out, you know. We really need to help and create this space to women to enter, because entering apparently is one of the biggest issues. As you said, they don't know, they cannot really conceptualize what they're going to create as engineers, software engineers. So this is important. Okay, but there are ways of fixing this, and we are going to together move to some outcomes. So I hear this a lot, right? I am in the tech sector already for a while, and I worked in different environments, and I was the only woman always in the room, okay, like 20 men and myself, and sometimes I was like, where are the women? I was really asking this, because I like, you know, creating some discussions around this. And I heard this a lot. If I could find the female talents, I would hire them, but they're not there. We don't receive any applications. And I started to wonder, that is true. I mean, for sure, they receive less applications because we saw the numbers. Girls don't study, they go to boot camps less, they don't have maybe time because of their personal choices, like being a mother, etc. They don't have this time or effort to invest in changing their career, so that's for sure. But like there are also some bias. You know, sometimes I like to interview my friends who are team leads, and they always say that, yeah, but you know, women like marketing and, you know, like social jobs more. They are good at teaching and, I don't know, this kind of communication. And they said that now they're very good at presenting, they are very good at planning, and not in engineering or coding. So it doesn't make even sense, you know, and which doesn't make sense for me, but you know, they're in such an idea, they are fully convinced with that. And they say that, okay, sometimes they just say, I just felt like that candidate met better to our expectations without any concrete explanation. It was just a gut feeling. They just said, yeah, probably he's a better fit. But I think, I guess you are going to agree with me, I think the opposite is the real case. As a woman, when you enter to a tech company or tech environment, you have to accept that you're entering to a, you know, you should get ready to work in a male-dominated environment. So you have to expect and accept that you will be the only woman in many of the meetings. And during the interview, you only, let's say, 3 to 5 stages of the interviews, steps of the interviews, you will be interviewed by only men. I mean, there will be no women until probably HR, because in many companies that we saw, recruiters are HR. And also, in many companies, they don't give, let's say, the chance to women as juniors and as starters. And of course, they got less paid. like all the industry, also in tech, women earn less than men for doing the same job. And also, you mentioned, right, it was the lack of the female mentors, because we don't have a role model. So you just go through the company profile, the board of members, the sector, they're all males. So you check them in the newspapers, all males. You go to the interview, all males, and you say, what am I entering it? So it is quite scary, because you don't know what you are going to face. So I want to ask, is this really the case? Are women less interested in technology, or is it the opposite? You know, the technology, how we are working, maybe even how we are coding, because it's like a black screen, you sit there and then you spend hours without socializing, without doing anything, and so totally isolated. When you Google, I don't know, a day of a back-end engineer, you just see, you know, totally a man just like, again, noodles, I insist on this, having noodles and playing video games, so it is like this stereotype. So I want to hear, Sara, again, from you. What do you think about this tech environment? Is this really designed in a way women don't feel themselves accepted?
Yes, I think it's like a matter of inclusion. Inclusion should be like a statement, you know. It's like companies or society attracting, let's say, women, protecting them, okay, making them like grow inside the company, giving them all the tools and all the support for them to evolve inside the company. Because one thing is that you hired one woman. The other thing is making her progress inside the company.
Yeah,
okay?
Retention.
Exactly,
right?
Retention. So I think inclusion should be like a statement, and it has to be followed by policies, politics, plans to keep women inside the company and make them grow. There are a lot of institutional barriers that make that for a woman it's more difficult to feel, let's say, part of the whole. For instance, isolation. If you are in a group where you don't have an informal network, or you don't have a mentor, it's difficult for you, like a woman, or for any person inside of a total with no, let's say, mirror, you know, to feel included. Another thing, it's for promotion, you know, and evaluation should be done with completely, let's say, policies that are completely or non-discriminatory, because we tend to promote people that resemble us, okay? And if managers are men, they will mostly, let's say, promote men, because it's the mirror effect again that they have. So I think there's a lot of things that the market, educators, companies should do in order to have inclusion as part of their Bible, let's say. It's like a statement, you know.
Because so it should be defined and
exactly.
also documented, and so that it can be followed and tracked, maybe.
Exactly.
It is also, what you said was really correct. During these meetings, you know, when I was the only woman in the meeting room, so you have small talks, you go out, you have a coffee. And it was so tough for me to get into conversation, just to connect in a different way, you know, with my coworkers, because they were talking about okay, it's a very classical and stereotypical example, but I'm not interested in football, like the football match from the other day, or I don't know, you cannot just really enter and have a small talk, and this makes a huge difference. Yeah. And we were also discussing right before the panel, you know, how they promote some companies and the social benefits. Like sometimes it's also very, you know, you understand the environment is really designed. I mean, like football we were saying, you know, this table football, I can enjoy this, but it's not my, wow, this company has this, I'm gonna work there. So it is really this kind of things, okay, that you just do it for good intentions, but sometimes that you are not considering everyone's needs.
Exactly.
So, Paqui, do you this?
Just to add in the conversation, I think we need to, as you were commenting, Gözde, we need to be aware about this bias that is surrounding us, because you might think that you are very, I don't know, inclusive, very diverse and so on, but then in the end you have a lot of things around you, like the footballing, or maybe let's go to drink some beers, and maybe you don't have people in the room that is there like to go and have beers. I don't know. So there are things that are surrounding us that we need to be aware. I think this is the first step, is to recognize that we need to be like more open and listen and be more empathic about the environment, and step by step create actions in order to realize and then act upon this information. So I think this is something that we need to be aware. And the other thing is, well, in regards to the environment, yes, I mean it's we are living in a world that is created by, let's say, companies, by men from many years. We cannot do like this in a moment and then we have like a really diverse environment. I mean, so we need to act. So my takeaway is that we need to speak up. We need to, stand up. We need to ask about the things that we really want. So in my team, and also friends that I have that we normally talk about career and so on, I always let them know, hey, we need to talk. We need to really say to our managers, to our leaders, the things that we really matter to us. Because sometimes, I think, in my opinion, we enter really late, like asking for a job, new job, or asking for more challenges, or asking for more money. Sometimes boys, it's my opinion, this is where I was living, they ask more, and they, they defend their interest, like more openly.
Yeah.
Why we don't do the same? We need to do the same. Why not? And yeah, I mean, things can be difficult, and also culturally maybe, yeah, it's difficult, but we need to start doing things. We cannot be like
Yeah, but also I understand, for example, again, think about that being the only female developer in a group of 10, and you are defending an idea. So there is this gender effect. You trying to sell an idea to 5 women and 5 men versus as a woman trying to sell an idea to 10 men. It's just like, oh, okay. I mean, it happens. And it was very interesting again, when I was in San Francisco, it was going to sound weird, but there I was again going to many meetups, and there was one meetup about product management, women in product management. And one girl, she was working at Spotify, product management, and of a very fancy part of the tool, like a recommendation engine or something. And you just look at her and you say that, oh my God, she's at the top of the game. She's in San Francisco working at Spotify, a dream company, and she has a, excellent product. And she was talking about every time she puts kind of a task for her to be more present in the calls or meetings with majority of men. And I was like, you too? I mean, you are in San Francisco, you are in the tech scene, but of course, also the game is harder there. The men probably in Spotify, they're also fighting harder, talking better, and showing their interests or defending themselves better. And she was also saying, there are so many meetings that I am the only one, and it scares me time to time. And George, what do you think about this us feeling uncomfortable?
I agree on that. Maybe it's a little bit about psychology, that maybe most of the guys, they tend to have less doubts and maybe less second thoughts, and they talk more openly, like you said. I don't know how we can change that. I mean, that's just like nature or something, so maybe we should just be more proactive in this case, and say everything out loud and be more persistent. And then I say we, I mean female programmers mostly, right? But yeah, that's the thing. And there's a huge lack of developers, and with all these statistics, obviously there's even bigger lack of women developers. But I should mention that from those students we have for development bootcamps, Probably it's this subset of girls who already decided they want to be a developer, and we don't have something like, well, no, it's not something I can do, it's not something I want. I realize that it's not my thing. If they come there, then they just do it until the end and they finish. There is no side that during these boot camps they tend to spend more time doing some like visual parts of the projects, focus on more like design part. Not at all. Sometimes we have our guys who make amazing designs, sometimes we have girls who make amazing designs, but if they want to master that, then it doesn't matter. It's back end, front end, mobile apps. They just do everything without any like doubts or like second thoughts, like, no, it's not my thing, it's too abstract, too complicated.
So as you said, more than a preference, it's really having the same safe.
Yeah, I think this preference, like should I do management or marketing or design or coding, it's more about some like personality, some mindset of some specific person. I don't think it's really like gender-based unless this person has some sort of stereotypes like, well, I'm a guy, I should do science, I'm a girl, I should do arts, right? Without this in their mind, then it's just what they want to do, and it's not about like, okay, this is my gender, there's no way I will be able to do this.
No, I guess now no one wants their kids to be like Snow White, right? We all want, you know, like Frozen Elsa and Anna, that they just there, present, working on what they really like. But there is also this thing, I guess most women think that they would not like programming. That's also another thing. So this is how we, maybe, as I said, created a working environment and how we promoted the, you know, profile of engineer in a way that it looks scary for a woman, you know, like I'm gonna sit and don't communicate and don't do anything and keep coding and coding, totally isolated from the rest of the world. So I guess we need to also work on this image, scary image for women. All right, so let's assume that as a woman, I decided I want to work in tech, change the world in artificial intelligence, and I convinced myself I am ready to take the challenge and get into the male's world. You know, like I am ready to be the only woman, maybe in some meetings, etc. So it doesn't finish, unfortunately, there, because companies, they want to hire female talents, and there are female talents, students, alumni. They want to change their career and they want to join those companies. But then we face a communication problem. Because men and women respond to the job advertisements differently. And there are some words, you know, in the digital world, they are used for job advertisements, such as ninja, rock star, hacker. And we were talking about this. I cannot imagine, you know, if I were a mother of 2 or 3 and being in the ninja at the same time and developing until late evening. So this gives me a different kind of picture, which doesn't respect probably to my lifestyle as a mother. And also, let's see, you applied still. There are also some interview questions that are asked to women, but not men during this interview process. I don't know if you have ever received this, but yeah, in Turkey, not in Spain, but in Turkey, I received questions after my 25, when I was late 20s, like, when am I planning to have a kid, or am I planning to get married soon and have a, you know, long vacation on honeymoon? So I was so surprised, but for the interviewer, it was so normal, you know, because he's going to, you know, invest in you, hire you, and he wanted to know if in 3 months you are going to get pregnant and absent for months. And at that time, of course, I didn't know so much about diversity and inclusion. I didn't question this, and I was really trying to still convince them that I was a perfect match. Thanks God they didn't hire me. But this is a good example, I guess, to see how this job ads work. So there are some websites that are called gender decoder. So you just go to the gender decoder and you post the text. And it marks which words are masculine encoded and which ones are feminine encoded. So I can share with you the link later on. But here you are going to see, for example, manage, active, these blue marked ones, like analyze, they resonate. I mean, it is not only for men, but they resonate more with male qualities, let's say. And vice versa, you cannot maybe see, there are some ones, they are a little bit purple, like responsibility, support. And these are also feminine encoded ads. So when you use this responsibility support, maybe you are going to attract less, male talents, while you attract more with an advertisement, which includes active, competitive and everything. And the last one is gender neutral, actually. And also, they just showed that masculine wording is very, very common. So according to statistics, it's 92%, wording in job descriptions are masculine. So I also want to get your opinion here. Hiring bias at technology is very common, but we have this bias everywhere. But do your alumni, first I'm going to ask the educators, do your alumni, female alumni, do they have more challenge? So George, you mentioned that some companies, they proactively ask for, female curriculums, resumes. So not in that case, but when they have to compete with their peers in the same environment, do you think they have less chance while job hunting?
From what I saw, I could not say that. I think it's pretty much equal opportunities for everyone. Again, I'm speaking mostly about development, programming world, right? It's really easy to test the candidate because it's all about code. You just give them the challenge, they send you back the code. You can make a decision without even meeting them, seeing them, and not knowing the name or gender or anything, right? Because all you care about is just the quality of code. And in this case, we have not seen anything like that. We have not even got any single question asking like, well, I'm a male or female, it will be easier or harder for me to get a job? No, we get this question sometimes about the age, because sometimes we have students, or older students, like far older than, let's say, you can expect. But even in this case, luckily, again, we haven't seen anything even close to this sort of like discrimination, which is good, right? But still, the statistics is really disappointing.
Sorry for sharing that, but yeah, it is.
It really makes me sad. I think all the companies who make any sort of such discrimination, they should just perish immediately.
But you know what? This is also like difficult to escape. I mean,
well, luckily now we have all these sorts of websites where people can leave feedback about companies.
Yes.
So they cannot really hide this. If this is happening, then I think we should just speak up, send reviews, and just make it public so that the company would be known that okay, we cannot do that anymore. It's not appropriate. Right? Because otherwise it's really easy to just like swipe it under the carpet, and like whenever I did that, it just was about like
but
bad
sometimes
test results or something.
It happens later. There was this, I don't know which year it was, but Amazon was highly criticized because they designed the artificial intelligence to, select the best curriculums, and it was super gender biased. So they were like, because they received so many curriculums, they just developed the code to make the first selection. No women there, because it was created again based on some criteria. We are not again blaming anyone. They never said that bring me more men, but they didn't consider this gender specific wording, etc. So do you have the same experience? For example, do you need to support maybe the female alumni more during the job hunting?
Yes, like in Ironhack we have like a figure of like the student coach. So after the bootcamp finished, we have a whole week to do like the coaching for them to go out and be prepared for the job hunting. I think that the like, let's say like the barriers, it's sad to say, but a lot of time comes directly from women, like maybe the market is open to hire a lot of women, okay, but women, we put like barriers, and we think maybe we are not going to pass the test, or we are not going to be good enough during the interview. So yes, as coach, for example, we work a lot in the imposter syndrome, which is mostly suffered not only by women, of course, but by women, because they don't maybe they don't think that they're going to be good enough during the interview, or once they are hired, they are scared of being like discovered and like, oh my God, yeah, we hired you, like we bet on you as a woman, and at the end you are not as good as you said or we thought you were. So I think that, yeah, like the imposter syndrome is something that we need to accompany some candidates. Also, for instance, on the non-verbal, you know, like communication that they can have during the interviews, not only for women again, but like man can be more confident, you know, what we were saying before, like because since we are little, like we teach, let's say, women to be careful, like be careful, don't get messed, like don't get dirty. And men is like, yeah, you have to be brave, take the risk, go, like climb up the tree, you know. So this is something that unconsciously keeps like rolling in our heads. And yeah, maybe women are more careful to only apply to the job offers where they know they're going to fit 100% of the criteria. So I think like the bias or the challenges not only comes like from the market itself or for companies, but also like we need to accompany women to let them know that it's going to be okay, that they can apply even though they don't see 100% of the criteria matching, because men do it if they see around the 50% of the criteria matching. And the thing, yeah, the challenges are both, let's say, from the market, but also like from all these gender bias that we are speaking about.
I guess in that case, we accept that there are some gender-based differences between men and women when we talk about ourselves, our qualities, or how we celebrate even our success, how we promote ourselves, how we self-market ourselves. And in that case, again, until women figure out how to do it themselves, how, you know, until we stop doubting ourselves, as you said, maybe as educators and as companies, we have to proactively go reach out to women and don't wait for them to market themselves or, you know, tell that they deserve a promotion or they just finished this project. We need to really track them, track their progress and success in a different way that we do with men.
For instance, I think something that is really important that companies could do, it's like when you are on a recruitment process with a woman, like let them know that you have inside the company some women that have succeeded on the same role and speak about this role model so that they can like directly like project themselves working inside the company, you know. So this is important, or put like on the job offer like a disclaimer saying that this is something that works, like if you don't have 100% of all the skills, don't worry, apply, we want to receive your profile. This is something that can encourage some women to just apply and see what happens.
But that's also probably became the mainstream or common practice because men were already applying even though they just accomplished, I don't know, 60% of the requirements. So maybe that's why companies tend to, you know, ask for more, just knowing that they are going to. So it is a little bit, you know, chicken and egg. But I guess with the self-education, we are going to achieve this. And Paqui, do you feel this, you know, in your team that women are a little bit have less chance in hiring? So you said that in marketing, you already have, you know, quite many women, but in other areas, as you said, like engineering, etc. So do they really have less chance?
I don't feel that. I mean, in my team or even in the digital, at least in the digital side of SEAT, I write the job descriptions. I need to use the tool to check myself and see, because I'm sure that I'm using those words as well, because we write like this, because this is our culture. So I agree that it's a mixture of things. So we need to be aware, help them or help us ourselves as well, because as you were commenting, Gözde, if we arrive to this point where a situation or in the technology area where there is only maybe men and you are the only one in the room, I don't want to say we suffered a lot, but we did a lot to reach to this point,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
No? So what about recognizing it, not telling her and having her like on top of the rest of the people, but maybe coaching her in a more natural way to boost their way to talk and to be like a more brave, maybe in the beginning you need to be more, active, and then in the end they will ramp up on that. So
And do you have, Paqui, sorry for interrupting, but do you have any kind of women mentoring program, or I don't know, a female talent program within the company?
I don't
because
think
this exists because we know that women don't proactively do this, so they create this kind of support groups or programs to teach them how to present themselves, how to, I don't know, feel more comfortable in work environment. So
it's a really nice idea. I think there is nothing official, but we do
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, and for example, when we do interviews and suddenly when they see me appearing like hiring, in the development side, they are like, oh wow, there is a, and my manager is also a woman, so it's like, oh wow, so this is like a, it's something is changing. So this is really the beauty of the things that are doing today, that in the world of change, at least in the automotive industry. I mean, we are not in the automotive industry. We are in a bigger world of the mobility industry. And we need to change the way we create cars, we create experiences. And for that, you need definitely diverse people. If you want to do things differently, you need to put different people. If you want to do different games, you need to have different people for doing those games. So, and in the end, there is a business benefit. So
That's true.
We need to keep working into this, and there are good examples. Mentoring is a good example, coaching in the company. So I think those are the kind of things that we need to reactivate or activate in the companies. So I think this is a long run.
Yeah.
It's a step by step, but it's a long run.
And do you have any, Sara, George, do you have any this kind of, I don't know, programs or promotions or some, I don't know, activities for women, like Women Coders Day, or I don't know, or some discounts for women coders? I don't know.
Yes, so we have done some partnerships with companies for sponsoring women. For example, we did one with Wallapop, and we have done several. After that, and yesterday, actually, my manager told me this story. After the first one that was launched with women, there was I think it was someone that wanted to change the sex, so a transgender, that came and said like, okay, so I am a man, but I'm going to become a woman, so I can apply to this sponsorship, right? And it was like, okay, so
We are not prepared for this question.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, Ironhack decided to open sponsorship not only for women but for everyone. But it's like, I think we are not prepared for this kind of situation because we are speaking as if we had only two genders, but there are a lot of more like combinations. And so to answer to your question, we do have a 10% discount for women that want to enroll in the data and web development bootcamp.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much we have the same, we have several types of scholarships. One is, we call it Women in Tech, so it gives a discount to any student who will choose this scholarship. Mostly they are, well, all of them, they are girl students. And we also had some transgender students in the past, and they also chose this scholarship. And we didn't ask any further questions, like wherever you identify yourself, you can be any gender, wherever. But then the learning process, it's all the same for everyone. We don't have some like specific girls only groups or like, because I think the equality should be applied in this case.
That's true. That's true. And also as women, we need to learn how to play the game without, I guess, additional, that concrete support, because the world is not going to protect women always. So maybe company makes you a favor and hires you, and then you cannot stay there if you are not ready for this either. And regarding this, non-binary or transgender, there is also a movement right now. You may see in social media, people put he or she next to their names just to respect and recognize different gender preferences, just to show how they feel themselves, how they identify themselves. Okay, so actually everything you explained was a great entrance to my last topic, because it is about glass ceiling. So this is one of my favorite topics, because we discussed everything. As companies, we can do our best. We can 100% hire women. We can put very bold objectives, like we do actually at SEAT Code. Or you can continue giving promotions or discounts to women. But I guess the industry and educational institutions, they are ready to accept women. Okay, there are some barriers, but one of the biggest challenges is our own glass ceiling, right? As women, we have many things, we can talk about. The numbers you give are perfectly right. Women ask actually for a promotion within a company when they meet 100% of the necessities, while men already apply when they accomplish 50%. So this is a great example. We have a huge self-doubt, and they call this also confidence gap, gender-specific confidence gap. Because men, as you said, they are encouraged while they are growing up, while women learn to, doubt themselves, and this is even kind of appreciated. You have to be a little bit, not really going and exaggerating your skills, because there is also this negative effect of successful women. When you walk, when you talk like a, successful woman, oh, she's very bossy, or oh, she's becoming a man. So there are also these negative associations with successful women in the society. And maybe you also start like talking like a man maybe at some point, just to feel as one of this majority. So it is very complicated, but it creates this imposter syndrome. So there were also some studies, they just compare men and women. They make a test, and after the test, they say how successful they were, they think. And women just say that out of 10, 5.8, men says already 6 point something. And at 10, they both do 7.5 or about around this. But we as women need to really embrace our gender-specific qualities, and know that there are some barriers in the sector, in the industry, and we need to start actually empowering ourselves by ourselves. And so again, we discussed about this, but maybe you want to add something. How can we really contribute this, to empower women? And Paqui, we talked about like mentoring, and you already mentioned giving promotions. Maybe we can, as next step, go one step further and proactively really understand where this, self-confidence gap stays. Because sometimes it might be also created by the corporate culture. As we discussed, if you see always the male models, or as I said, during the hiring process, if you got never interviewed by a woman during these 5-6 stages, you already feel something about the company. You have an impression about the company. Anything you want to add around this? I know we talked about this, but...
Well, I would say as a companies, again, the point is to be like a more empathic, and recognize the situation that we might have because of our nature. I mean, we are women and we have different values. This is the beautiness of being different. I think it's not that we need to be a man and no, okay, we are like this, or we have these other capabilities. So let's realize about this. Let's be in the companies like more empathic and build, let's say, an ecosystem of trust and respect where everybody can speak up, no matter which gender, which from they are coming from, and everybody feels the freedom. I know that is like something maybe really hypothetical, but for me as a leader, this is what makes me, get up every day. So we need to provide this freedom, this support, so everybody can be their own, and provide their value in order to build the best product. And we cannot do the best product if you are transforming yourself for being in that company. So I was reading a sentence long time ago saying that it's, nothing is making you more nervous than being another person that you are not. So you need to be your own. And so this is something that we need as a leader in SEAT, and this is, for example, with trainings that we are doing nowadays, no? It's like how we promote the unique value of everyone. So I think we need to be like on this mood, no? And being everyone conscious.
Yeah, I mean, this unconscious bias, they're quite strong and very difficult to recognize and fix. Therefore, it's very difficult to fix them. But I know, for example, at my previous job experience, you know, I am very talkative. I go people and I ask questions. And I was hearing so many stories from my female colleagues, you know. I was shocked. They were crying at the meetings, or they were saying that they're earning, I don't know, 30% less than their peers. And I was like, go and talk with the HR, because I am also, I mean, you know, as a personality, I go and talk and I challenge. But women are not used to do this. And then I was, as like an agent, collecting some information and going and having one-to-one conversation with HR without giving name. And I was saying that, look, this is happening. And they were asking me why they are not coming and talking to us. And I was like, they will never do it. Because first, you are expecting everyone to be as proactive as a male worker. And the second, you have to find a way or channel to go and reach out to them and get their opinion around this. So I guess this is a good example how proactive we should be during the hiring, educating, and helping, you know, girls to choose having a career in STEM. All right, so my questions are finished, so I don't have any questions. But I just want to, you know, close my part with some, because I have this opportunity, with some messages. So we just shared our opinion, and that's true. Women can really change their career. I mean, you can be a mother. You can have really your, I don't know, second child. You can be pregnant, or you might plan getting married. You can go study and change your field. And women can find jobs in tech industry. So we are an example. We are really proactively searching for female talents. You are inviting female talents and inviting them to study and giving some discounts to them. And we are going to reshape the tech industry. So this is the only way. We are going to work together as women. We are going to enter the first field, and we are going to reshape how we are working, how we are thinking, what are the attractive things about a company. We are going to contribute and shape this. And we will create a more diverse and inclusive tech scene. Otherwise, it is not going to happen by itself. Even though the companies and industry representatives are proactive, we have to be there. And we have to take the challenge. Really, I am inviting everyone, because this glass ceiling topic is so strong. We have to proactively look for some mentors. There are some role models, you know, look for them, ask for them, participate at women and technology support groups and events. I showed you, like 22% of the tech meetups, only women. So we have to be present there. We have to go and then talk and ask questions. And please initiate some open conversations at your company. I know it looks like a big topic. It took ages to, you know, see some progress, and it is going to take more. But this is not going to end there, right? We are talking about the glass ceiling and gender gap, but the next step should be, as we discussed, achieving the diversity in women in tech, with different ethical backgrounds, women in color, transgender, etc. So it is not only this, it's not going to finish here. And don't panic. So this is a very manly message at the end, but yeah, one step at a time. I like Rocky Balboa, and we are going to consistently, slowly, in our own way, patiently, going to achieve this. And we are going to create, let's say, more diverse solutions, more diverse tech environment, and artificial intelligence especially, which is the future, but we have to be there, right? So Happy International Women's Day. And thank you. Now we can take some questions. Right, okay. Yes, I have to do it from here. So, Francisco, I guess I need you, or I'm going to disconnect. Do you want me to check the Slack, or? Yeah, okay. All right, let's see. So we have a question from Monica Verdi. It has been really interesting. I was wondering how our own beliefs are stopping us. How can we tackle from the personal area the unentitled mindset, and that is part of the gap. So I guess it is again around the glass ceiling and our own personal doubts. And I believe one thing we can do as companies, I'm going to talk about only as companies, we have to create more female role models, which is going to inspire female developers. And who is going to inspire students? So they want to be not like Steve Jobs, right? So they will announce a female name, and they will see that I want to be like her. She's my hero, right? Not Snow White, but Elsa. So we are going to work on this. But on the other side, we were discussing about this a lot, but unconscious bias trainings, from my point of view, they are crucial. Because our male colleagues, they don't understand how it feels like being only women in a 20 people meeting. Because they have never experienced this. I mean, we cannot blame them. This is just to learn and to share. But they are going to really imagine themselves in our situation when they go through this kind of trainings, just to be aware of them. Do you want to add anything on this? I don't know if you have in schools or institutions like this kind of unconscious bias trainings, or no?
No, I mean, we are aware of the challenge. Okay, like inside Ironhack, we are aware of the challenge. We are aware that even like starting with our staff, with people that works directly like in Ironhack organization, we have to create like safe spaces, workspaces for women. We have created a diversity parity a committee inside Ironhack. This week we are organizing also Women in Tech, and we have different like talks every day. There's a channel where women can like express themselves like openly and ask questions or share like their difficult moments, or so. I think like inside the organization Ironhack, we are already doing this, and with the women that are like subscribing to our courses. I mean, like we are accompanying them, as I said, on the coaching side, and like empowering them by women and by men, because not all coaches are women. Okay. Yeah, sure. And yeah, so I think it's like little step, but yeah.
No, it is going to change, but as we discussed, slowly. So there is another question from Jessica Nunez. I have had a boss that says he takes biggest decisions during football matches in weekends. There is a boys' club effect, really tricky to tackle. That's correct. So in the code, I would say you would also have a hint whether it was written by a woman or by a man. Styles are different. Yeah, also this is, yeah, okay. In the quote, I would say you could also have a hint whether it was written by a woman, by a man. Styles are different. Okay, this is a personal opinion from Kekamoto. So what do you think about this boys' club?
Sometimes it's an opportunity as well. For example, I started to run because of this. So I just realized that all the decisions were done while running in my past experience, job experience. So I just started to run. So suddenly I became more healthy as well.
Okay,
so,
that's a good story.
But yeah, those kind of things happened. I mean, and you need to realize, and of course, this is a special thing. So for me, it was good to start running in order to be with the guys and take those decisions. But
we are not talking about only good habits. Maybe it's boys' club here. It is like running or football matches, but
yeah,
There could be a beer pong or something like that. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's quite difficult to get in this kind of questions or this kind of activities.
Yeah, not only to get in, but also because maybe you don't like it too. So sometimes there are like I don't know, WhatsApp groups that maybe you don't want to be in. I would say, and they are those kind of things happen. So I get really, let's say, upset of those things because we need to have this environment where everybody can participate. So I think as a managers or as a leaders of people in the team, we need to be aware of that and say, hey, the one that it can speak louder, I would say, or the one that feels like we cannot afford to do this, to take those decisions in those kind of chats or in those kind of meetings. We need to be, I don't know, in a safe environment, in a room where we can everybody work, because I mean, but it's happening. It's happening.
No, it happens a lot. It's like again, smokers club. Because I remember there were so many things were communicated and talked during this, smoking break. And they were coming back and I was like, everyone was aware except for me, for example, because half of the team was smoking. Or, I don't know, again, there are some very things that you do with good intentions. Let's, after the work, grab a beer, which is fine. I mean, which is perfectly fine, which is very welcoming. But maybe you're a mother, you need to take care of your kid. I guess men are more flexible in this because another topic, like parental roles, etc. But these are kind of blockers for having, I guess, more open conversation. All right, again, another personal opinion from the Zuzia. You can't create a product attractive to the society without having the perspective that represents what the society looks like. Yeah, our society looks like a little bit disappointing or depressing right now because of the, but you can change also from my perspective, change the perspective of the society by pushing some products. So we saw this Lara Croft, she was super sexy fighter because this was demanded by the game consumers. But you can choose to, put an empowering role model instead of depicting women in such a way. So I guess it is like, of course, you make a product which fits to the needs of the society, it becomes, boom, very attractive. But on the other side, I guess this is the responsibility of the companies, the individuals, to make decisions considering this, right? You have two options. Okay, I'm gonna develop this product, which is really, not gender diverse, instead of that, like Barbie, like you have a good shape, beautiful baby, instead of having colored, or not physically so perfect toy for the children. Would you like to add anything on this, or am I talking all the time?
No, I can add that. The new generation that is coming. I mean, there is now Generation Z. I mean, when you talk to them, as you were commenting, I don't know what I was reading, but I think more than 60% they prefer or they are happy with no gender. Based kind of thing, and brands are tackling these opportunities. So, for example, Zara, I think it was last year, they launched a collection which is no gender.
Yeah,
they prefer no gender, and they used to wear no gender, and I think we need to realize about this, and companies need to work about this. So we need to design a car with a user persona, no gender based. I mean, it's going to be like huge, but yeah, I mean...
No, but it should go there. I guess the real gender diversity will be achieved by gender-neutral way of working and thinking. Not like women needs, male needs, but becoming person, So we are going towards there.
Just one thing, I think that this is like the risk of continue saying like there are some needs for women, some needs for men. So cars for women should be like this, cars for men should be like this. I mean, yes, there are some things that are like gender specific for each gender, but I think the advantage of this, like networks today and like all the communication, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc., is that today companies can hear exactly what the consumers want and can make evolve their products based on this. So it's not only based on what I think as a woman that woman wants, but I need to look out to what the market is asking, because I have access to what they want, and they can also tell me what they are looking for. So I think that of course it's important to take our own position as women, men, or X, but it's also important to ask the market and adapt to what they say.
Exactly.
Which is something that 50 years ago it was impossible, you know.
But you have to interpret the data also well. We saw other examples. Just capture the data and interpret it in a gender-neutral way. So this is also a risk. Okay, so I want to thank you a lot. I personally learned a lot from you and from your experience, and it is really motivating to see that you are really impacting this area. You are making impactful decisions to empower women. And I guess the future will be a better place. But yeah, I guess we have to work together. We have to help each other, and we have to fight about this negative impact of successful women or women in tech. And we have to be bold and brave, supporting our peers, especially women to women. And also we wait for your support as men to make it really working for all of us. Because otherwise, as we discussed, we are going to exclude the high part of the society, very big part of the society. All right. Thank you, everyone, also on the other side of the camera. And yeah, you can reach out to us through LinkedIn. And also, this is not our only event. Once again, we are going to have more events on Thursday. And once again, happy Women's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.